Have you ever caught yourself living inside a conversation that never happened? Maybe you're driving the car, or lying in bed, or just walking somewhere, and suddenly you're gone. You're winning an old argument. You're explaining yourself to someone who never gave you the chance. Or you're living a future moment where everything finally works out. None of it is real, but your heart is racing like it is. Your jaw is tight. You might have even mouthed the words. And if this happens a lot, you've probably asked yourself one quiet question. Why do I keep imagining things that never happen? Here's what almost nobody knows. It isn't boredom, and it isn't a glitch. It's one of the most common things the human mind does. And underneath it, your brain is trying to solve a very specific problem. But before the answer, one correction. This is not daydreaming. Daydreaming is drifting, loose thoughts with no direction. What you're doing has structure. Dialogue, timing, emotional stakes. You're not drifting, you're directing. And psychology has a very specific explanation for it, including one type of scenario almost nobody admits to running. That one's coming. Your brain is a prediction machine. Its entire job is answering one question. What happens next, and will I be ready for it? So it built a simulator. Pilots train in flight simulators, so their mistakes happen where nothing can crash. Your mind does the exact same thing with social life. Psychologists call it mental simulation, and it runs on the default mode network, a set of brain regions that switches on the moment your attention is free. The commute, the dishes, the minute your head hits the pillow, the second the outside world stops demanding focus, the simulator boots up. And notice, you never chose the scenario. It started itself. Here's where it gets interesting. Because your simulator has favorite programs. Researchers see the same three over and over. Type 1, the lawyer. The lawyer reopens closed cases. That argument from 3 years ago gets a retrial every few weeks. And in this courtroom, you have the evidence, the witnesses, and the closing line you actually thought of in the car afterward, 3 hours too late. The lawyer isn't after revenge. The lawyer wants the record corrected. Type 2, the Oscar winner. Future scenarios. The launch that works. The room that goes quiet when you walk in. The specific people who doubted you, watching from the third row. It feels like motivation. Sometimes it even is. And type 3, the one nobody admits to, the bodyguard. The bodyguard simulates disasters. The awkward moment before it happens. The bad news before it lands. From the outside, it looks like anxiety. From the inside, it's protection. If I've already lived it, it can't blindside me. Most people run all three, but one of them is on repeat. And which one it is says a lot about what your mind is actually trying to solve. Because why does the simulation feel so much better than reality? One word, control. Real life is a first take. No script, no edits. You find out the perfect response exists 3 hours after you needed it. But inside the simulation, you hold the pen. People finally understand you. You never fumble the line. The ending lands. And look at who does this the most. It's not people who think too little about others. It's people who think constantly about how they come across. Socially analytical minds, the ones reading every room they walk into. All that social data has to get processed somewhere. The simulator is where it goes. Now the fine print. Because there's a line here, and it's thinner than you think. In 2002, clinical psychologist Eli Sommer at the University of Haifa documented people whose inner worlds had quietly taken over, hours a day inside scenarios, while real life faded to background noise. He named it maladaptive daydreaming, and the mechanism is brutal in its simplicity. The brain discovers it can get the feeling of victory, connection, closure without risking any of it. You've sent the risky text 50 times in your head. Your thumb has never touched send. You've aced the interview so many times internally that opening the actual application feels strangely finished, like it already happened. That's the trap. The simulator was built for rehearsal. It quietly becomes a replacement. And a rehearsal you never perform isn't preparation anymore. It's a hiding place. But if that stung, wait, because this pattern has an origin story, and it isn't weakness. Jerome Singer, a Yale psychologist, who spent 50 years studying daydreamers, found that people with vivid, story-like inner worlds scored higher on creativity and emotional regulation. And that inner world usually got built early, often in rooms where your real feelings were too big, too loud, or too inconvenient to say out loud. So the feelings moved somewhere no one could interrupt them, which means the person in your scenarios, the sharp one, the brave one, the one who finally says it, that's not a character you invent. That's you, with the fear removed. So every scenario you run is data. You're not simulating random events. You're simulating what you want, the respect, the closure, the version of you that takes up space. The simulator isn't lying about who you are. It's showing you. Tell me in the comments, which one runs on repeat for you? The lawyer, the Oscar winner, or the bodyguard? I'm genuinely curious which type this channel attracts. See you in the next one.